When you think about selling on Amazon, supplements might not be your first choice because they might seem like an intimidating category. But for us, it was the perfect choice. In this video, we're going to be breaking down exactly why we decided to launch a supplement brand, the pros and cons of launching in the supplement space, and everything you need to know if you're considering doing the same. Welcome to FBA Unfiltered. My name is Taylor, and I started selling on Amazon in 2023. I went on to do over $100,000 in profit in my first 12 months, and I currently do about $35,000 a month selling on Amazon. Joining me is my former business coach, Rami. He is a multi-seven-figure Amazon seller who's been selling on the platform since 2017. And we created this channel to document the behind-the-scenes process of how we're launching our new brand on Amazon FBA. We hope to inspire and educate new Amazon sellers by showing exactly what it takes to go from idea to launch. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, make sure to hit the subscribe button and follow along for our journey. Now let's dive in and talk about why we chose to launch in the supplement category and why it might be a good choice for you as well. All right, FBA Unfiltered gang, this is video number 3. I'm Taylor. I'm here with Rami. Rami, how you doing today?
Doing well. Great to be back for video 3. Let's get rocking and rolling. So for today's video, we're going to be discussing why we chose a supplement brand to start our partnership with one another for Amazon FBA. So to get right into it, we chose supplements simply due to the fact for, a couple things, right? Reoccurring demand. If you have a good product, people are going to be constantly going back and reordering. We're selling the product in a 30-day supply. So our hope is that every single customer that we get is going to lead to a repurchase every 30 days, right? Subscribe and save is massive. I'm seeing like crazy numbers in the subscribe and save world now, especially in regards to supplements, because people are flexing, but flexing in a cool way where we get to see like, hey, dude, this person just made $5 million on their subscribe and save this month, which is just nuts. Right. And then, of course, it aligns with the health conscious trends that are happening right now. We, like Taylor and I, are obviously very health conscious ourselves. We understand this market. It's something that we're passionate about as is. And there's obviously a ton of different SKUs and products that we can spin off of it as long as it does well. So Taylor, I'd love for you to chime in.
Yeah, I'm excited. Like Rami said, I've been into supplements, just using them myself forever. I used to be a personal trainer. Like it's kind of almost like surreal to be launching our own supplement because it's just something that I've used as a consumer so much. I've done so much research into supplements just to buy them for my own personal use. It's just so cool to see the behind the scenes and to make your own supplement. And I'm really excited to share it all with you guys. Maybe there's someone else out there like me who's, always been into supplements, but wants to see what it's like to actually make your own. So that's what we hope to showcase on this channel. And I'm really excited.
I mean, honestly, one of the things I'll just add as a tid point, we got even more excited when we landed like one of the most cutting edge supplement manufacturers that are out there right now. That's out there right now. Again, they're on the cutting edge. I think there's going to be so many cool opportunities we're going to be able to do with them. So just super excited. And that leads into, supplement challenges actually really, really well, because there's a ton of them, right? You have to absolutely make sure. I mean, well, let me give this overarching statement because like obviously the people that are going to be coming to our channel, Taylor, are going to be looking into getting to Amazon FBA. When it comes to consumables, right? Whether if it's food, supplements, topical products, you name it. American consumers want that stuff essentially made in America, like cut and dry, right? And America is not known for its manufacturing anymore. That's just the truth. So that is one of the challenges that you're going to face in regards to cost of goods, in regards to finding a manufacturer that's willing to take your brand on when you're a nobody. Because, for example, I think when we were first researching this first product, Taylor, I think we went through like 30 different manufacturers until we found the one that we actually wanted to nail. We had crazy MOQs, like to start off 10,000 units, 50,000 units, because we also want to get into the gummy supplement manufacturers, a gummy supplement space, right? Because that's the upward trend right now that's happening. And then, of course, dealing with big name brands, FDA regulations, X, Y, and Z. So many things are headaches when it comes to supplements. Taste, a lot of different stuff.
Yeah, and I'm excited to go into again. Like I just think the behind the scenes are going to be so valuable going through this because this was something that I had done for the first time, which was actually figuring out how to make an FDA approved label. Like what you just take so much stuff for granted. How to create that nutrition facts or supplement facts label and have it be legit because that's something that that's one of the I's you got to dot and one of the T's you got to cross is making sure that your packaging is going to be compliant.
Yeah, honestly, much more annoying than I anticipated that to be, by the way. I thought it was going to be a lot simpler. Like we found like a generator that can like, create the supplement facts, but it's a lot of information. You got to make sure it's on there
Yeah.
and it's correct. And what's nice is, when you're working with a good manufacturer, they're going to guide you along that process. But a lot of it is also like you got to figure it out. So super cool. But it is one of the challenges that does like deal with supplements. But one thing I will mention, and this is again kind of a caveat just for anybody trying to get into the FBA space, you want to find products that have challenges, right? Because this is the point where the overwhelming majority quit. And this is where having, like Taylor and I working side by side on this and just making sure that we're moving through those bottlenecks, it's what stops the overwhelming majority of people to start selling or really doing any business, to be honest
Yeah.
with you. It's good
Yeah.
when challenges present, as long as they're overcomable, which the overwhelming majority are.
Exactly. And this is a mindset thing for real. Like I try to tell my students about this, and I remind myself constantly, each one of these hurdles that you face and each one that you overcome, that's a hurdle that just took out a bunch of your competitors. And every time you're going and crossing another hurdle, it's just that many fewer people that you're competing with once you make it. So that kind of mindset, I think, is necessary when coming into this kind of space. Did you want to touch on, Rami, about kind of these bigger brands, how to stand out in the supplement space? And I guess what I mean is you kind of got to take it seriously, right? Like there's people who are doing supplements at a very, very high level, and you don't just want to come in willy-nilly into a space like this.
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, honestly, even the big name brands are lazy, is the crazy part to me. These big name brands, I mean, I guess lazy is not the right word. They just don't, they're not perfecting everything, right?
Mhm.
Even if you look at one of the biggest things that my clients always discuss is like worried about Amazon launching an Amazon's Basics
Mm,
version of their product. To me, that's good news, right? Your product has very, very high demand.
right.
But Amazon doesn't update their listings properly. Amazon doesn't stay ahead of the cutting edge stuff that's coming out in regards to updating per SKU, right? Big
Right.
picture, obviously, but small picture per SKU, which is the world that you and I are going to be in,
Hmm.
you can fight that, right? Better photography, better keyword targeting, getting into the hands of consumers through user generated content more easily, a lot of different ways you can do it. But to be frank with you, there's always a competitive edge, some way,
Yeah.
somehow. Now, the thing that I see a lot of new sellers do is that they say, hey, insert big name brand here, launch this product. It's doing really well. It only has 2 reviews. I'm going to just do the same thing.
Mm,
But they have a big name brand behind them.
hmm.
You can't do that. You have to do that same concept and then have something better. Is that branding? Are you bundling it with something really, really good? There's got to be a differentiating factor some way, somehow.
Right.
But there always will be a differentiating factor.
Yeah, I think that's cool. That just kind of made me think, yeah, some of these bigger companies that, they can muscle around, they can move, but that size comes with its own challenges, right? They're not going to be as nimble. They're not going to be able to
Yeah.
adapt as quickly and as specifically as a smaller company can, especially if, you're a new Amazon seller and you're a company of one. You're
Yeah.
basically only held up by your own speed, your own actions. So if you're on it, you can definitely outmaneuver some of these larger companies.
Love it, man. That's actually the better word. Instead of lazy, it should have said nimble. That's a much better word for it. But let's move on to the next point, which is mistakes to avoid when choosing a product. Funny enough, that's kind of what we were just talking about in a
Yeah.
way, is that you want to like if I were to sum it up very, very simply, you need to find a competitive advantage one way or another. And it can be super simple. A really easy example in the beginning. I mean, even if we look at this plastic cup I'm drinking out of right now, if you made a larger version of it, maybe a colored version of it, maybe a more unique lid, it doesn't have to be super crazy. One thing I will tell you, this is a trend, but I think this is going to be a trend to stay. I think a lot of people are starting to move into drinking out of glass, right? Glass water bottles, I mean, right? So I'm seeing that trend. I'm seeing it in my gym now. I'm seeing
Hmm.
people carry those glass Saratoga water bottles now when that brand has been here for a very long time. It's been very, very popular for a very long time. You can follow a trend if it's being backed and it's clearly staying here for a long time, but you still have to make it competitive some way,
Right.
somehow. And no one's going to give you that answer directly. And if they do, you probably should stay away from it.
You nailed it. The whole thing with trends and differentiating, like just be smart about it. It comes back to common sense, which we've mentioned in a couple of our past videos, which is just, if you're going after low-hanging fruit, don't expect the big reward. It's kind of how much value and investment you put in is kind of similar to how much value and you're going to get out. So if
Yeah,
you're just going to do a copy paste, a simple, sloppy, lazy copy paste of a different product, don't expect the world. But if you do want to actually make some good money, if you do want to have that explosive success, hey, look, you're gonna have to put in some effort. You're gonna have to think about it. You're gonna have to make some decisions about how to truly differentiate yourself.
yeah, ask yourself these basic questions, right? Ask yourself in the concept of saying, hey, if you do have, the resources to ensure compliance, right? And what I mean by that is, actually, I can give a personal example.
Hmm.
One of my products that is on track to do $1 million per year, that product alone has a massive compliance issue,
Hmm.
massive. It needs to be EPA registered for me to make certain claims. And that EPA registration is a $500,000 to get done.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's not a little thing to get done. It's very difficult to do, and it's a headache. But the thing is, I know long term, so like I'm skeeting around the EPA like claims because I'm not
Mhm.
making the claims that would require it to be EPA registered. However, I'm focusing on finding a manufacturer in the US that will allow me to private label their formula.
Mhm.
To then I can pay a much smaller fee to get an EPA registered version of my product to then try and get the brand out there. And then hopefully I'll be able to build the funds to then EPA register my own formulation. But yeah, so like just making sure that what you're doing is compliant. And honestly, ChatGPT has made it super simple. You can literally chat GPT, hey, what is required of EPA registration? Like it's not that hard anymore. So make sure that you're able to do the things that you're trying to do and the product you're trying to get into. If you want to make a claim that this is going to help you lose 30 pounds in 30 days, you're in for a world of hurt. So just be mindful of those things. It's important to ask yourself that question and do the due diligence. And then just ask yourself, do you have a clear niche and target audience? It's kind of discussing what we talked about in the earlier slides,
Mhm.
is just making sure that you have an idea of what you're trying to do. And are you ready to compete in that target audience? What ways are you separating yourself from the market?
Right.
Going back to common sense, right, Taylor?
Yep, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. That's crazy, man. EPA, dude. That's heavy stuff.
Yeah, man, but I mean, obviously it's one of the things like that's a really clear and easy example of how that challenge is stopping someone like me with my experience to getting into it, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Um, Although I may or may not have the financial capacity to do that, which I don't have a 500,000 liquid right now.
Yeah.
Hopefully I will. But I don't have that liquid right now. And that's like just a massive risk for me. Although the product is doing really well, and if I had that EPA registration, I can do some heavy hitting stuff.
Yeah.
Hopefully that'll be in my future, right?
Yeah. And it's a process, right? You guys don't get scared off when we talk about some of these big numbers. Like this is a process. You build up step by step to kind of these larger and larger goals and growing your brand. It happens organically. If it doesn't happen organically, you're going to be in trouble because you're going to be over leveraged and you're going to be taking on so much risk. Just let this stuff happen naturally. Start small, execute on what you can execute, do one thing, do it right, and build from there.
And it actually relates to finding your first product. My first product, when I tell you I had sleepless nights, sleepless nights. It was back in 2017, and I ended up getting so frustrated that I ended up just like closing my eyes and clicking. Funny enough, Alibaba had this at the time, the one-click buy. And I just did a one-click buy because I was just getting so frustrated on making the decision and like just having analysis paralysis. And I ended up doing the one-click buy, and it was for 1,200 bucks. And I was
Yeah.
like losing sleep at night.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, and it's crazy to look back to then when now like we're both doing one-click buys of like tens of thousands of dollars on
Yeah.
Alibaba like really easily,
Yeah.
which I'm grateful for and I thank God for. But at the end of the day, perspective is reality. And when you're trying to find your first product, it's a massive headache. Analysis paralysis is a real thing. But it can be much easier to work with when you're using data tools like Helium 10 to validate the market demand. When you're looking for products that have reoccurring needs or add-on potential, right, which is going to be your competitive edge. And then beyond that, choosing something that you have a true passion for. And the reason why we say that is that you're going to get out of the bed to work on a project that you will truly want to have yourself versus the product that you just could care less for, right? And I think it's very indicative, actually, funny enough, right, for each of our, because we both own multiple brands, right? I think it's indicative of our own brands. That, like, the brands that we're more passionate about, is it a shocker that they're doing better than the other ones that we're not?
Exactly. Yep. Very true. Very true. Yeah. And that's, it's funny. That's a great way to frame it. Like, you do want to be passionate. You do want to be interested or knowledgeable in the space that you're coming into, but it's more for you. It's more for how much you're going to be ready and willing to bring to the table. Don't just go in because you think it's a cool idea and it's something you're interested in, that's why it's going to work. No. It's because you're going to be motivated to make it work, because you've got that passion behind it. So don't get confused there. You gotta understand your demand, and you gotta understand, your niche and your customer. But if you're fired up on it, you're gonna bring it to the table and you're gonna make that product stand out.
Yeah, just please make sure you're getting into something that has common sense. Like, you have to have a competitive edge. Just because you're passionate about it is not enough. I just want to stress that every time.
Exactly.
If I got $1 for every time I've seen a person launch a flashcard company at this point, is obscene, right? So let's move into the key takeaways, right? Before we wrap up this video, right? So product selection is a strategic process. It's not a guess. Make a data-driven decision. You should be able to articulate to yourself, these are the parameters as to why I am moving forward on this product. There should be clear numbers to give you the reasonings as to why. An easy example for us, we were able to say, hey, this keyword is being searched 10,000 times. There's no product that's for it. Let's create that product, right? That was Taylor and I's data-driven decision behind it. Research market demand, competition, and long-term potential. Make sure that this is not, a short-term, couple-month product. If that's what you're doing, you should stick with drop shipping or arbitrage, right? You're trying to build a real brand, right? And there's too many upfront costs when it comes to building your own brand that it needs to be long-term, at least a multi-year project. And then just lastly, build a foundation for your brand with a strong initial offering. I say this oftentimes too, like, and you'll see this with Taylor and I's brand. As we build our footprint and brand awareness is there, maybe we'll launch a vitamin D3 K2 gummy, right? That's a very competitive product. But if our brand awareness really built out, I do believe the supplement manufacturer that we have can build us a really cool product that is different than the market. But, if we can get into competitive products, start selling 100,000 times a month, we'd love that too. But we need brand awareness before we do that. So building that foundation is super important.
And this kind of, just to take it full circle, we started talking about why supplements. And I did just want to hammer home, because these points all tie into the key takeaways. Supplements have that ever-growing demand. There's a huge space right now for health and wellness products. There's that high potential for repeat purchases. The subscribe and save, all that subscription model-based stuff is in our favor. So that's another really great reason why we're getting into the space. And then what Rami was just talking about, which is the branding opportunities. If you can come out with a strong brand and develop that brand awareness, you can piggyback off that initial momentum and start building out a product suite under that brand and really scale up your success.
In our fourth video, we will be releasing the product that we chose to move forward with and exactly why we chose to move forward with. And we're going to tie in all the topics of the first 3 videos into that video as well, to kind of quickly explain what it is. We'll see you in the next one.
If this video gave you insights into selling supplements and if it might be a good category for you, be sure to leave a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss any more behind the scenes content as we unveil our supplement product for 2025. And let me know in the comments, what categories of products are you considering selling on Amazon? I'd love to hear your ideas and give you some feedback. As always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.